When I was a very, very small child, I knew I saw dead people. Well, I didn't know they were dead at first. And I would talk to them. They were physical until someone made me aware that they weren't there. I'd see little midget ones that would come at night and get me out my bed to take me, call my name. Back in the day, there was no such thing as UFO. There was none of this. It wasn't in my remit or my waking consciousness. And I never really understood it was what you deem to call ET until around about 1987 when I saw the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, and I nearly died because then I realized all up to even that point, it was ET as well as spirit. The energy of a dimensional being, it hits you in the solar plexus area, the stomach. It's vroom. The spirit is really consciousness. We call it spirit because we're in a 3D reality where we have to have polarity and labels. But it's all under the same umbrella. Consciousness creates matter in all shapes and form and frequency. We perceive from the vibration of where we are at that time. No one is restricted. If you have an excitement to go towards that, no one's stopping you. It will open up if it's your desire to do it. This planet is just really collectively coming into the realization that we manifest our reality. We learn from them into the process of self-realization. They learn from us something else for them. Consciousness is in constant creation. It never stops. Creating all potentiality, all possibilities, all experiences in all places at all time, and it's eternal.
The power you seek lies within you, as we are each infinite beings living a human experience. The truth of who and what we are has been hidden from us until now. Awaken, my friends, to this new reality that we are in fact creating everything through the power and the gift of our wonderful imagination. Join me as I unlock the secrets of our past and reveal the truth that has been clouded in this veil we call life. What reality will you choose to create today? The choice is yours. Welcome, my friends, to my reality practice. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thanks for tuning in today to the Reality Practice podcast. I'm your host, Joey Kramer, and today's guest is Gloria Canning. Gloria is a lifelong contact experiencer, a visionary artist, psychic medium, and the creator of and host of multiple podcasts, including the Inception podcast, Open Minds, and Waking the Dead Ghost Stories. This is going to be truly a fascinating and amazing show. I'm so excited to introduce her to the audience here. And with that being said, I want to welcome you, Gloria, to the show. Thank you so much for coming on today. I'm so excited for this.
I am. Since yesterday, I think, oh my God, all day today, oh my God. So yeah, I'm buzzing, energy's high, and I can't wait to have a conversation with you. And thank you for inviting me onto your show. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. It's just returning the favor. For those that don't know, I just appeared on Gloria's show, Inception, yesterday, and we had an amazing conversation.
Wow.
Like almost 2 hour long conversation. And yeah, got the wheels turning and spinning in my head, all different thoughts. I discovered a lot of things that I hadn't seen or realized, I guess, that prior to us talking. So, thank you for kind of helping me through a couple little obstacles that I was dealing with. And it was eye-opening. And I hope that you're able to share that, kind of bring that same wisdom and knowledge to the show today. I have no doubt that you will. No pressure. No pressure. You, like we did on your show, we just kind of let it flow. We let it come out. I've got a few questions specific that I want to dive into, but I want to literally
let it just go from there, because that's when you're at your best. So,
Okay.
you know, I don't want to constrict you in any way.
Oh no,
So,
I can't be constricted. It'll just come out and boom, it will go. No.
right. And just fair warning, guys, Gloria, she says what's on her mind the way she chooses to say it. So if you get offended by her, too damn bad, because she's a beautiful soul and she says it like it is. And I love her honesty. I love her universal truth that she comes from. So let's just get right into this. I want to hit it hard. I want to hit it heavy.
Right.
You say you're a lifelong contact experiencer. Now, what is that for the audience? I know your story quite a bit, but I want you to explain to the audience, what is a contact experiencer?
I've experienced communication with what interdimensional beings, or what one could call ET, since I came in on this timeline, since a toddler, non-stop, all the way through and still going. It's part and parcel of what I call my life, my experience. So all the way through.
Okay. And how, when did this start for you? Like what age, did you start to recognize it, become aware that something was different, something was happening?
When I was a very, very small child, I knew I saw dead people. Well, I didn't know they were dead at first. And I would talk to them. They were physical until someone made me aware that they weren't there. So it was just me seeing them. I was seeing all different types of being, and I thought it was all dead people. I'd see little midget ones that would come at night and get me out my bed to take me, call my name. But I thought they were dead midgets or dead children because, I'm slightly mature. Back in the day, there was no such thing as UFO. There was none of this. It wasn't in my remit or my waking consciousness. So I thought, the guys coming through the wall when I was a teenager with the big black almond eyes, I thought they were dead people, just they're weird looking. And I never really understood it was what you deem to call ET until around about 1987, when I saw the cover of Whitley Strieber's book, Communion, and I nearly died, because then I realized all up to even that point, it was ET as well as spirit. That's how I found out, shockingly.
And at what age were you then that you kind of realized that it was like,
oh God,
this is what I'm experiencing?
At 1987. So how many years ago is that? I don't know.
30 some, 30. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
30.
I was late 20s, early 30s, and that's when I found out. And it shattered everything. I thought it was just, dead people. That was bad enough, and the rejection I had. But that's when I found out, because he drew one of them that I was seeing, and I just resonated, and boom, and that was it.
Wow. So, for all of your life, you've been seeing these, and I want you to kind of differentiate between what the difference is between, the contact experiences with ETs versus you seeing dead people. You're having contact with is that what you call them? Dead entity spirits? How did you know the difference? What is the difference?
Yeah. I mean, they told me off way back in the day and allowed me to experience being dead, and told me we are not dead, which they're not dead, but it's just a terminology. Human beings that have transitioned to the next dimension. Then, I mean, when I would see them and still see them, I knew they were human. They were human, and I'd feel their emotions. I'd know the connection. I know who it was, or if they were stuck or had trauma, or they'd been murdered. I knew it was all human related. Obviously, when I found out that the others, the midgets especially, they come in all different sizes, were not, then I recognized the energy was different. The physical aspect was different in how they looked. Obviously, the biggest almond eyes you've ever seen. And then I started through discernment when I went back on all the experiences, because I was conscious. I realized, well, this, the way they came through walls, how I would go on to what you deem to call a craft, and all of the above. I realized the energies were different. And the energy of a dimensional being for me personally, everyone is different. My truth is, it hits you in the solar plexus area, the stomach. It's vroom, it's powerful, and it takes to calibrate with it. It takes, time. So it doesn't knock you off your pedestal, so to speak. So that's
so you're saying, if I understand you correctly, you're saying ghosts, the idea of spirits, the perception of spirits is the same as an ET. They're just different. They're both energies, all in different dimensional existences. You're just able to see a different plane of that most normal people can't open their eyes to, right?
And let me give you another analogy to take that deeper. They're not the same per se, but they are. It's paradoxical. Let me give you an analogy. Everything is consciousness. Okay, so if I've got this table, it's consciousness, which was a tree. It's consciousness vibrating at a certain frequency that gives a physical shape in the 3D reality. Mm-hmm. Well, then I can go to a plant. That's still consciousness, and its texture's different. It's more malleable. It's more animated. So they're different. It's different, and it's more of an intuitive sense that you can differentiate between the two of them. But the spirit is really consciousness. We call it spirit because we're in a 3D reality where we have to have polarity and labels. So, but it's all under the same umbrella.
I see. So you're saying, and I agree with you, everything, the table I'm sitting at, the chair I'm sitting in, the trees, the grass, the animals, everything has a frequency. Everything's resonating at a specific vibration. And so in our three-dimensional realm that we exist in, we're only, and we discussed this yesterday, we're only able to see a certain spectrum of vibration, of frequency. There's so many, probably infinite
there's so
variations of frequencies, but we're only allowed, for whatever reason, we're only allowed to see this.
No. Here I go. No. It's no one.
Correct me. That's why I want you on the show.
No. I'm jumping in. There's no such thing as you're only allowed. Okay, that's the wrong terminology. Consciousness creates matter in all shapes and form and frequency. We perceive from the vibration of where we are at that time. When I came in perceiving. I came in what you'd call psychic. So I'm not the only one. There's millions of us. So I came in at the get-go psychic with all the psychic, what you call gifts to go with it. So mine was already tuned in. No one is restricted. If you have an excitement to go towards that, no one's stopping you. It will open up if it's your desire to do it. So
what you're saying, in correcting me from saying we're not allowed to see it, as far as
you have a choice.
We have a choice. So is that why do you think nearly most people in our world, they can't see these right now? What is keeping them from seeing the vibration that you can see and that I can see? I'm not anywhere as experienced at this point as to what you're able to do, but I'm growing in my abilities for sure. And why is it people can't see this at this point in time?
One of the causations of this is belief systems. Okay, if you come from a very strict religious belief system that was given to you, not your beliefs, don't talk to the dead, you go to hellfire, burn. Don't talk to any being, they're demons and devils, you go to hellfire and burn. And it's been programmed in for millennium, and it's an unconscious belief that's inside. So there's a fear. If you have a fear, then you yourself, it's you, it's not anyone else, it's you. that fear, if you don't work through that fear and use some discernment and realize the belief you have about something is what someone gave you, and to look to who you are, then you'll be shaded to a degree. And if, say, for example, a spirit comes to you, or more probably it is what you call ET, energy personalities, you're really going to go fucking freak out and be more fearful and feed the reality, because that's the reality you're creating. So if you have fearful thoughts and emotion and you project it out to some on your perception, that's what comes back to you. That's why.
I see. So you're basically saying the reason the majority of people, the population at this point, is unable to see is basically the belief, and it's the belief is in the eye of the beholder. In essence, is that a good way to sum it up?
Yeah, it's a belief system of your concepts, the idea you have about yourself, what you think should be in your reality, all of the above, all social determinants around you, your culture, your religion, your ethnicity, and all the things like that.
I see. So that leads right into the idea of not everybody, the vast majority doesn't believe this, and they think you and me are downright crazy, for a lot of them. How did you overcome this? How do you deal with this? Because the people watching this show, the majority, if not all of them, are believers. They believe that there's so much more, that we're so much more powerful, that we've had so much kept from us, because either we weren't ready yet, it's part of the process. I don't know. But how have you overcome this idea, and how can our listeners overcome this idea that people are going to think, most people, like even our family and friends, most people are going to think we're nuts when we start talking about these experiences. But how do we deal with that?
Me personally, myself, I came in being aware. So so it doesn't really relate to me on a personal experience. However, there are many ways if you choose to choose to experience what you call ET or dimensional beings or multidimensional beings, whatever terminology, whatever presses your button, is you have to find out what you're not. There's only. I come from the truth of self-realization. I know what I am. I am that playing the role, the identity. And it's finding out what you're not. And by finding out what you're not, you then find out who you are. And through that process, as you deconstruct the identity you have about yourself and how you think things should be, your consciousness frequency will shift. And what has always been there right next to you, you'll start to subtly perceive. And I always say to people, because in the groups I teach, they move around us just like you went into a shopping center, but all these strange people are walking past you, going in, chatting. They're here now, but it's a process that you have to go through to do the work on yourself. Well, then by doing that work to find out what you're not, to looking at who am I, truly the observer, who is this, they will break down the barriers and you'll start to perceive. It really, I hate saying it, it is a very simple process. And I've said it before, a few decades ago when I heard, the likes of Alan Watts and everyone saying it's simple. I'm like, fuck off. What do you mean simple? And so I don't say it lightly. I know it's perceived. You'll perceive it. You'll say, oh, it's difficult. Well, that's just a thought. That's a thought. That's a belief system that every time you try to attain something, it's going to be difficult. You need to learn. You need to study for years. Well, throw that shit out. Just do it. Just do it. So that's one path to doing it.
I think to sum that up, it's basically embracing your own truth, right? Because there is nobody but you. you know, creating your
Yeah, but it's a hard
specific
concept.
reality.
Yeah, but it is, that perception comes later on down the line. What happens in the beginning through the process of self-realization, some people just go pop, but the norm is you have like an academic understanding of the process. Because we're all well informed now, the internet and everything, whatever, but which is really good. And then you go through the academic process, and then sometimes it comes in increments, the experiential. One thing, having multiple contact with these multidimensional beings, each time the being that I am expands out. So the filters drop. So, but you are the same being as I am, and you can do exactly. We're not all going to do it the same. My orange analogy I told you yesterday. So, whatever excites you, whatever your passion draws you to do, you'll get there. My way may not be your way. It's the way that I came in, which is totally different. But whatever excites you, whatever resonates you, whatever you're interested in, follow that way. And you know what? Not many people do it because they have this fear of religion and dogma. You know, send out a prayer or a mantra, or to the universe, to a God, to whatever you call it. Just help. And trust me.
Ask and you shall receive. That's what we've always been told, right?
Yeah,
the
and
truth lies within us.
Yeah, it will come in a way, you know, that you fucking never saw that coming like that, and that's how it comes. So, it is this, when you start to experience it, then this experience, you have it, and then you think you've lost it, but that's just a thought. It's just you're starting to mature into it. The being is I don't even like the word awakening. Is remembering. Remembering.
I love it. Yes.
It's a process of remembering.
So you said,
who the being is.
You know, I think from what you were saying there, that fear that people have, I relate it to that fear of not being part of the tribe, of losing that connection. We feel like if we start sharing these thoughts, these images, the experiences you've had and I've had, when we start sharing those, I think everybody goes through that moment of fear, because will we be ostracized from our perceived tribe?
Again,
which at the end of the day, we could never be.
I'm jumping in again.
Okay.
That doesn't, that will not be there at the time of this process. I can only speak of my own personal process. My process, I didn't need to tell anyone. There was nothing to tell.
Nice.
It was as normal, which I found I was aware, that's really weird. Why am I shouting from the housetops? Yeah. And because there's a maturity and there's a state of being in the being and being the observer from the being. By the time you've got to that, you would have dealt with so many belief systems, fears, what you call traumas that really weren't a trauma, but we'll call them traumas. You would have got, so by the time you get there, you'll tell someone, a loved one or something, and you'll get, the reaction will come. If that, and this is the question that came out, and you said you were going to write it down, it's now coming out by itself organically. Go. Here we go. And say, for example, you know, I don't have a husband. So say I got a husband here, and I said, oh my God, I had this experience last night, and this husband is having a go at me, whatever, and I'm getting cross and da. There's nothing wrong with my husband. Yeah. He is pressing the buttons on purpose. He is a God too, come in to do this. I need to look at me. Why am I reacting? Why am I judging him? Why am I trying to control this conversation? He needs to believe in me. He needs to accept me. That's an egotistic human concept. That's when it's not my husband here, it's me. And whenever what will happen eventually on this path is, not for all, but I can only speak for my own personal truth, is if someone presses my buttons now, which is rare, but some wild thought will come in, I go, oh, I say, thank you, fuck that, where are you hiding? And it's joy. So I hit it with joy, and it dissipates down. And I go, I thought I got over that. You know how many people, and I was one of them, do you know how many times I've at humble pie? Way back, I would say, oh, I've done it. Yeah, I'm awake and aware. And as I said to you earlier on, try go living with your family for 3 weeks and find out if you're awake and aware. And you go, boom, boom, boom. And humble pie. And it's a process, but you get to the process where you go, and, gotcha. Now, there's a segue in with the dimensional beings. As this process builds up, each time they come, I was never scared. My journey was different, but you're more open and more, you're more like, here we go. I still say it. Oh, here we go again. Oh, it happened again. It's normalization. So it's experience. I hope I answered that all the way through.
Yeah, I think so. And I got one thing I want to mention, and then we'll segue into, I want to discuss maybe some specific experiences you've had and what they're trying to tell you, what message they're trying to give to us or to you through you, but first I wanted to tell you, after our conversation yesterday, last night I woke up early this morning and I had a crazy dream. I usually never remember my dreams, and I'm working through that process to get better at dream remembrance. And this morning I woke up, the most vivid dream I've had in I can't remember how long, and I had to go write it down so I wouldn't forget it. But I was in a basically like a zombie almost apocalypse, and it was the strangest thing. And I'm just surrounded by all these people, we're walking down the street or running, whatever. And we're all trying to get into into a house, whatever, to be safe. And the whole time I was like, it wasn't a nightmare. There was no fear with me in it. I'm just going through this, and it's like, oh, I need to go left and avoid that. And whoop, there's something over there. And it was a really weird dream, but I feel like after our conversation yesterday, it almost unlocked something within me that I don't know where I went last night. I don't know, where I traveled to and experience, but it was really interesting. And I wanted to bring it up because I think whatever we discussed yesterday, maybe it jarred something loose,
Maybe it did. Everyone's dreams are personal to them, obviously, personal autonomy. And, my truth is, when this physical body goes into the conscious sleep state at night, we do not astral project out. We astral project into the 3D. We're home. We're out going different timelines, dimensions. We're home. We're just experiencing multiple things at multiple times, and it's like, and whether we're sort of learning something on a timeline, we've gone into another timeline to experience maybe how's your Richter scale fear level if a zombie apocalypse come, or it could be anything like that. And then we come back to the 3D. And when we come back into this timeline, to this dimension, this illusion, what we bring in, and it works because we're fractalized out in all places, all timelines, all times now, all dimensions now. So I don't follow dream books or anything like that. And I always say to individual people, best try to interpret your dream yourself. Don't ask anyone else. The problem with when you're going through self-realization, you're trying to deconstruct your own personal belief systems, concepts, ideas, what you believe about yourself. And if you start going external, you take on someone else's belief. You're just adding another belief on top. You need to use discernment and think, well, I don't know what it meant, but you've just said it did something. And that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. The conversation yesterday triggered something. And where that goes, it goes. That's your path. That's your path.
And there was a lot of, like I said earlier, there was a lot of insight I got yesterday that really kind of helped me unlock a couple doors that I'd had that I didn't realize I'd kept closed. And all I needed to do was just turn the knob and open it. And now it's up to me whether how quickly I want to step into that door, how much I want to discover at my own pace. I think that's something important for everybody to understand that's watching is we expect too much a lot of times. Like, why is it not happening fast? It's like,
don't attach to it. What I would say, don't attach to it. Experiences come and go. The only thing that stays permanent is the being. So experiences come. You were 10, you were 20, you were 25, you got married, you got divorced, you had kids, experiences. You had this dream, you had a good dream, you had a bad. They're just experiences, the flow of consciousness. It's flowing and creating and flowing and experiencing. But the observer just stays and observes. Enjoy the experience, wherever it brings you, but don't attach to it. So even though I've had some dream visions that are like, what the fuck? Back in the day when they first come, I was like, oh my God, and then I never bothered even writing it down in the end because I just let them all go. They were experiences. So as I'm deconstructing the idea I have about myself, I'm certainly not going to go on and catch on and go, because I did have a tendency in my 20s. I used to say this, God says to Gloria, go right. Your path is right. What would Gloria do? She'd go left around the fucking houses and shit would hit the crap.
I'll show you, God.
And boom, I'm back where I started. And I go, all right. Because that's the, the energy personality of this character that I am. And that's who I am. So just don't attach to it. Don't worry about it. It's don't take life too serious, including the dreams. Yeah.
I love that. I love that a lot. Let's kind of get into your specific experiences. And I want to preface this. I mentioned yesterday with you, I went through a short little course, a recall course last week to try and help me unlock more that I'm not remembering about my experiences. And from what I've been told is there's no singular experience. If you believe, you think, or that you've had some sort of encounter, some sort of interaction with an ET, be it a spirit, interdimensional, whatever, it's not singular. Like if you remember it, that something happened once, then in all likelihood, at least the way I understand it, it's happened many, many times. We're just not remembering it. And you, on the other hand, you're able to remember, it sounds like, a lot of these experiences. And I think you said yesterday, you've never had a negative experience. It's always been a positive experience. And I want to go down that route towards the end of the interview here. But let's dive into a couple like specific experiences you've had. And then maybe what is it that they're trying to share with you? Is there something they're trying to guide you towards? What do you make of it?
I'll answer the second question first. Am I knowing now my truth now, but not at the time? It's been about self-realization. Who I am. I am that I am. That's the whole purpose of every single experience each one of us have. We have the ball of consciousness, call it God, source, put a colander over, all the beams coming out, or all of us lot, we're still source. And we come into really, what does it feel like to play this role? So we have amnesia for a while. It's all as when I said about if I had a husband, he pressed my buttons to do the work on myself. They're part of the process too. So the second question is, it's to know myself, experience myself, to become the greatest and grandest version of who I am. And I am that.
I love that concept. I love that idea. And to me, that truth, I resonate very much with it. And
I forget your first question.
Oh, that's all right. We'll get into it. But you said,
first one.
You know, we're all playing our roles, including ETs, including interdimensional beings. Everything in the universe is working according to this plan that is the self-realization, the process of self-realizing.
Well, hold on. I've got to jump in again. They're self-realized. They know. They know who they are.
They're in a higher dimension, so they already have that awareness.
Well, I don't even like the word higher. They're on a different frequency. They've been there, done it, and did it. They've been through what we've been through, but they're still evolving and creating new experiences. But the way, like we're this planet is just really collectively coming into the realization that we manifest our reality. We're magical beings, just touching it. They've been there, done it, and did it, and they've got all the cups for it. But they're still evolving, and as they're part of. We learn from them into the process of self-realization. They learn from us something else for them. So it's a constant, consciousness is in constant creation. It never stops, creating all potentiality, all possibilities, all experiences in all places at all time, and it's eternal. So it's a two-way thing, as it is no difference between me and you chatting. And we go, oh, yeah, I never thought of that. Thanks. There's no difference in it at all. And when you can shift your perception to, include this, the Wayne Dyer 101, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Right.
And you go, oh, that's why. But it's a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey.
So let's follow that path real quick, and then we'll circle back to some of the experiences you've had, because we touched base on this yesterday, and we dove in. I asked some questions about the law of one, the channeled works that are out there, and according to their channelings, according to their wisdom, the knowledge they're giving us, they're claiming that the entities from the Orion system are a fifth density negative, and that they're actually affecting Earth, manipulating our three-dimensional reality. And what we spoke of yesterday on it, you had to cut me off, and it made me really realize what I'd been coming to realize about it is, even though they are the perception of a fifth density negative, that's the role they're playing at this exact moment in our timeline, right? And they're doing this, and it's actually out of love that this is happening. Is that how you understand it to be? I mean, I know I expand on that a little bit, because there is no evil in the universe. There's only love. We're all connected, but like you just said earlier, we're all playing various roles.
Okay, let me
help us along.
Let me jump in.
All right. Please explain it better than me.
Oh, yeah. It's no pressure, Gloria. It's all about the individual. One glove doesn't fit all. It's all about your individual perception. Let me do analogies. For example, I don't know, you've got some mate, you go to work with you, and he's like what we call the negative Nelly. He's just low, I'm fed up, I'm bored, I'm going to kill myself. And, you try and help, and you try and whatever. But anyway, you just don't want to be around, and because you're more, I'm really trying to help myself here. So you don't put your attention on him, do you?
Yeah.
You either, just ignore him.
It's like Eeyore versus Winnie the Pooh.
Let me finish my sentence or I'll lose it. It's coming in. You'll either ignore him, or, you'll change your job or whatever. Whatever you put your attention on, you will then create it. The universe says, oh, you want that? Back at you. It comes back. So if you start chatting, which I would never chat, so universe erases after 3-second rule, They got these negative and they're trying to control that is someone's belief system that someone started somewhere. Okay, you have never personally fucking experienced that to know it to be true. So if you can't have it experientially, how do you know that's true? I'm not saying it isn't true. It could be true. But there is no true and there is no false. Does that answer you? So I don't go down that road. I never go down that road.
I think that's so important because this is part of our process that we're going through right now. For me, and what's happening in the world right now, there's a lot of perception of evil. There's a lot of these things projected out there that go against the idea of love, of compassion, of forgiveness. And for me, it took a couple years to get over this idea that I wanted justice. I wanted to see vindication for the wrongs that have been done upon me, only to realize that I'm not the one, that nobody gets to judge except for God, and everything's happening according to a plan. So I've really had to come to this understanding of forgiveness and compassion for everyone, but I never put it in the thought process and the terms of other entities, other dimensional beings, having that same compassion and love for them and non-judgment. And I think that's where a lot of the people in the truther community, maybe, or even the secret space programs, you name it, everybody's got these ideas or experiences. It's everyone's,
I got to jump in again. I can't stop it. It's everyone's individual perception.
Okay.
Everything, look, every consciousness creates matter of all different shapes and forms and vibrations. Everything is an individualized personality and has an individualized nature. An analogy I can give you is, let's look at a lion, okay? Lions are beautiful, 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 beautiful animals. But if you go near them, they're not evil or bad. I mean, I remember when I was a child, my mother would put on nature programs where the lion would shred Bambi to bits. And I go, oh, fuck, I don't want to see this shit, you know what I mean? But that is the nature of the lion. The lion is not doing anything wrong. It is its nature. Okay, one. You may have a child that has certain disabilities that acts out violently because it doesn't know any different because of the disabilities. You don't hate it. It's not evil. You understand it and you try and support it. You're aware of it. So these are just basic analogies that, if I'm not saying people do not, and I use the word people lightly, experience from their perception, their reality, negative ET. It's their perception. It's their, if you've experienced it, that's the work you need to do on yourself, okay? If you don't like an experience, you can stop it. That's another show. However, when many people say, oh, this on Orion, this on here, this on that, and it's someone's belief system. Even my experiences and my truth now, I don't want anyone to take it as their belief. It's mine. How can you? I'm the only one experiencing it, not you. However, there are pointers in there through the self-realization to say, if someone tells you something about interdimensional beings, yeah, that's maybe their perception is their evil because of the idea they have about themselves. Could be trauma, could be anything, could be religious, could be anything. But you may encounter them and you don't experience the same. I'm now going to give you a personal analogy of part of my experiences. I heard for many years, many people say, oh, I was paralyzed and I was scared and whatever. And I could never understand why they used that word and why they were fearful. I was in the same conscious state. I would see them, they would come. It's always in the bedroom, most of the time.
They're kinky, huh?
Well, I don't know about that. It's to do with the atmosphere and with the level where consciousness is malleable to shift. But I could observe them. I can communicate telepathically, but I couldn't move my body. Not once was that, have I ever thought I was paralyzed. I knew my frequency had put into a certain oscillation, vibrational hertz, for the, call it astral if you want, for me to float for a wall. So this is what I'm showing. So that's my truth. That I don't perceive it as being paralyzed. I don't perceive it at all. Others perceive it. So this is what I'm saying. Be cautious when you take on someone else's belief system about these beings.
I love that. And I think we're on the same page here. And that's, I think the point I was getting at was we're each, and you explained it well, we're each experiencing our own version of this reality. And it's our own unique to us, right? However, there's a lot of information out there, which we need to discern for ourselves, right or wrong. But would you agree that the information we're getting, right, wrong, negative, positive, whatever, it's all part of the program. It's all part of the matrix that we're living within. That, and I would say it's trying, or is it trying to create the idea of separation? We can never be separated from any of it, but I feel like these different ideas, this conspiracy or this is happening, is it really in a sense having the negative effect that it's supposed to have?
Okay,
like
I'm going to jump in again. I'm jumping in. There's no such thing as negative. Okay, consciousness wanted to know thyself. This is the basic. I say it one way. Okay, and to have that, I need to experience polarity. Okay, I need to have a polarity. So when a polarity comes up, so let's say I am an arsehole, by the way. My identity is the biggest fucking arsehole going, but let's just say I'm not an arsehole. And I'm this angelic, lovely, love and light, I've got all this, and something comes, and it's what you perceive as evil, okay? It's there to show me the polarity. It's part of the self. I know this really sucks, but it's part of the resistance you're having so you remember. It's a game. Remember, when you can, I can't even articulate this, but it's going through that experience that nothing is wrong. There is nothing wrong going on. There's no evil, there's no bad, there's no good, the universe doesn't have these concepts. These are human concepts. These are human beliefs. And they basically come out of the core religions, not the original, but the core dogma of the fear base. But however, and including, we could never have come here and had this experience if we didn't have what we perceive to be evil.
Right.
But it's coming to that awareness through self-realization. It's playing a role. If we're on a stage and we're all playing a role, so I'm going to play a psychotic serial killer and you're going to play, I don't know, you're going to play some, young, whatever, innocent victim. Church. Yeah. And I'm going to go right and I'm going to chop you up. We're playing a role. That's all we are doing. I know when I heard this years ago, I was going, fuck off. You telling me? Because I come from a mother that would torture me and it was not. It was like concentration camp 101. So I'm not doing this from, flippancy or love and light. No, throw that word out. I was born into the worst type of experiences of trauma one, as a toddler could go through. So does that make sense? So
yes,
change the way you perceive and experience. If someone come chasing me with a machete, I would more likely say fuck it and run, but I would protect myself. And if you tried to kill me, I would have to kill or be killed. I mean, that's part of the human experience. I'm here. I'm not dead, I don't think, yet. I'm having that experience, so I must react in accordance to the 3D universal set rules, if that makes sense. Or from
Totally.
the physical aspect.
It totally makes sense to me. I just put out a new episode last week of my new show, Escaping the Matrix, and I dove into really analyzing the wing makers, if you're familiar with the wing makers, and what they're all about and the wisdom they're trying to share. And a lot of what you're talking about is so in alignment with that, because it's that idea of we have to escape that perception of negative, positive duality. It's removing the duality and understanding totally, completely, without a shadow of a doubt, the oneness that we all are experiencing and living within.
It is, but there's an even bigger, there's so much more. It's impossible, but it's not just realizing we're one. It's become such a bland statement. There is this joy, this energy. You smile. It is the realization and the joke, when you laugh, you go, fuck, I really believe that so much. And that is the most powerful excitement and love. And then what happens is also, there's so many aspects to this. You could talk for England. You know, in the film The Matrix, when Morpheus, I think it's in one, Morpheus says to Neo, you know, the girl in red walked past, and he didn't notice, okay. What I'm using that as a base to segue in, but when you get to that point, you can walk anywhere, and you know exactly who everyone is. There's no fear, there's no evil, there's no judgment. You see it for what it is. You see reality, what it really is. And that it is an illusion, a dream, whatever you choose to call it. So
I love that. And that's what I speak a lot about on stages and everything, is having that compassion and forgiveness for ourselves and being able to laugh about this illusion. It's once we escape the illusion, we do get to look back at everything. And it's like, this is so much fun. This is ridiculous that I believe that. Forgive myself. Have compassion for believing the program that we're supposed to be.
This is part of this program. This is part of the human process of what we call human self-realization. It's a process until you get to the point the concept of forgiving another or forgiving yourself doesn't even come. It's not even there. It's gone. Because you're in the realization of just that you are loved. There is one, unconditional. There's no words, omnipresent, omnipotent. There's no words, no thing, energy, creation, call it God, source. I can't even, my heart is going boom, and I can't find an expression. There's just that. And you go play the game. And you start to experience things that are out of the human concepts. So what is there to forgive when there is nothing to forgive? So forgiveness doesn't work anymore. What is there to be compassionate about when nothing is wrong to be? You're not a hard-hearted soul. No, you see things. And that energy, when you speak to another, radiates within them. And their being starts to shift. You don't even have to say anything. And you'll shift. Another of the gods, the amnesia would start to shift and lift up with the other beings coming in, the ETs coming in as well. That's how it's part of the process. It's beautiful. You still have shit taste.
Yes, because we still are living in the three-dimensional, this density bullshit.
Always learning, always learning, always maturing. It's just, but it's really, there's no suffering. One thing I've noticed is there is no suffering anymore. There hasn't been for a while. There's a difference. I mean, I get pain in my body, really fucking awful pain. And I experience the pain, but I don't know if you can understand, there's no suffering. There's no mental and psychological suffering with the pain. It's just an awareness of the pain. I can't explain it any more than that. So the first thing that for me that went, it may be different for her, suffering stopped. And when that goes, it's like, and this lightness comes, and the next thing comes, the next thing comes. So it's, but I argued kicking and screaming all the way through this. I really was the biggest arsehole going. And all they ever kept saying to me was, be patient, be patient. It was like,
screw you and your patience. I want it now.
I tell you, honest, it's, and now I don't know how I got here. What the fuck am I doing here? Actually, I have no idea. But yeah, so I do have an idea. But yeah, so I hope that answered in some way.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
No, once it comes in, I just have to go. I can't hold it back. So.
It was beautiful. Exactly what you said. Everything. I resonate with it. I hope the viewers do as well. This is a very deep, if not one of the deepest interviews I've had so far. And I'm just loving this. It's so fascinating. Before we've only got about 10 minutes left before we get wrapped up. Can you share with us one or two of the most impactful experiences, contact experiences you've had?
One, when I was a teenager, about 13, really shattered Newtonian laws for me at that age, even though I may have not fully understood. I was in my mother's house. I was ironing my clothes, and I was facing a wall. And back in the day, I don't know about your mother, but the wallpaper they had made you want to vomit. It was like paisley and just weird, And I was just ironing. And then all of a sudden, it's something I always recognize. And the only way I can describe it is the whole atmosphere changes. And it's very similar, sort of, maybe like, if you've ever gone to the dentist and gone under the old school gas, it's this zoom, zoom, zoom. Mm-hmm. There's no noise, it's silent, but the atmosphere is different. And I'm watching myself eyeing, and then time started to slow down. And I'm observing this. I've always been the observer. And I was 13, I think, 14, something like that. And I was going, wow. And I was moving, my body was slowing. The physical body was slowing down. And I looked to this absolutely disgusting wallpaper on my mother's wall. And I remember turning my head, first come two almond shape, big black eyes. And I was like, wow, you can come through walls. Remember, I didn't know it was ET at the time. And then the second one as I'm looking, and then the third, and then the three of them come towards me. Boom. Don't remember no more till a couple hours later, I was on the sofa at the other side of the front room. That was, for me personally, it may not be all juicy bits for anyone else, but I then, when I realized what it was ET in 1987, that broke the paradigms of science. Everything went, and I went into quantum physics and studied quantum physics, astrophysics, the whole lot of it. That was, for my personal journey, that was mind blowing. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. There's so many. What ones can I get you? Oh God. I can only give what personally impacted me. There was one, I was on a craft, and it was like being a child. I was on this craft, and one thing I do remember, there was all of these piled like old school mobile phones, no more communications like that, yeah? But it was like I couldn't see the windows. They were like so thin, if you know what I mean, but there was space and everything, and the craft was consciousness itself. The craft operated itself. That's all I can. And I was up there. I cannot name the person who I heard. I heard someone call my name telepathically, and telepathically I communicated back. So in this experience, I had the realization they were on board too, but they were looking for me. It was space. It was the planets, just the lightness, the experience. For me, it was another one that just shattered another. And then I went into astrology and everything you can think of after that one. So I always look, and I've said this to other experiences, and the other night to Les Velez, when he does the Opus group, I said, for me, the nuts and bolts are irrelevant. It's what the contact with these multidimensional beings, what impact does it have on the consciousness I am, this individualized consciousness? That's what contact's about. That's what experiencing is about. And then, of course, the question was, it's a process of self-realization. It's hard, but it's a beautiful experience in the end.
That is phenomenal, so fascinating, and I can relate so much to your journey, because that's where I began too. Once I started to kind of understand and realize that there was so much more out there, we had these abilities, right? But I didn't know what they were. And I kind of went down the same path as you. I dove deep into quantum physics because it just made sense to go down that path, because I'm a very analytical, scientific thinking person initially.
I think I think most people went to quantum physics. And I mean, I'll just give you quickly one more, because obviously I was psychic, and my older sister was telling me, and I remember I was doing psychometry, I was doing telekinesis, I was doing telepathy, I was doing shit as a toddler all the way up. Yeah. And another experience I remember is being on a craft as a child and seeing other children, different ages, and we were training. We were doing the same shit. I always had these wooden blocks, and I was levitating them, and that gave me an understanding why I had these psychic or clairvoyant skill sets that were in my life, and which I then took into my career when I was working. So, it's them moments for me. It's not so much about the physicality or what the being looked like, or was it evil, was it good? What did it do to my, if I'm talking to you, how are you affecting my consciousness? I feel good. I was buzzing after, the show yesterday, my show yesterday. I was buzzing. That's how you affected me. So every interaction I have, whether it's with a multidimensional being, energy personality, whatever you want to call them, spirit world, or Joey Kramer, it's what effect has it had on my consciousness? Have I expanded? Have I got wow, light bulbs going? Or have I gone, oh, fuck, it's going like this? And that's how I see contact. I don't see it the way many see it.
I love that you said that. Specifically, how does it affect you, me, our interaction? And while yesterday our show was mind-blowing, and it opened up some profound answers for me to start, or questions to start searching down. But after we got off, I literally, within about 30 minutes to an hour of us getting off the call, I was drained. I was literally like obliterated. I had to go lie down, meditate, just kind of chill for about an hour. I mean, it was like just a freight train had hit me. I was just exhausted. So, I mean, not in a bad way. It's like, I don't know what it
can do that. It can do that. I mean, I have the energies around me now, so I got the heat on me, and I'm gonna, in an hour, I run my experiences group, and the multidimensional, boom, they come in and answer any question that they pose for me. And at the beginning, every time I spoke or I listened, or if I listened to another person that was having this connection, I was like, oh, I was exhausted, and but I get used to it now. I mean, what it does. Why one sometimes gets exhausted after such a conversation with another is because the consciousness, the being, is saying, "Be still for a second. Be still. Absorb. Discernment. Just relax," because one major thing the Homo sapiens sapien does, the idea you have about yourself, is the doings. You have to. It is a belief system that's ingrained. We need to be doing things, because if we're not doing in linear time, we're going to get bored and depressed and lonely and Billy no mates. So, but when this, in a conversation you can have with anyone, I sometimes, with some of my guests, I've got one coming on Saturday night that I know is going to blow me. I more likely won't sleep for the whole night. The consciousness of still, be still, the being, be still, and use this discernment, introspection. Wow. And it needs to rest, because it's the same. Many experiences say after contact, when they awaken, they're exhausted because of the powerful energies that are coming through. And after years of constant contact, then you actually, you toddle along. You can do minimum sleep, and it's getting used to connecting with the vibration. So I'm not surprised you were like that last night. I hope you sleep well tonight.
Yeah, I slept great last night.
Good.
Actually only did about 4 hours, I think. Went to bed late, spent time with my wife up late, and then I only had about 4 hours, and I was up. I was up before my alarm went off at 6. I was up at 5:55, ready to roll. And
I was buzzing last night.
So it was.
I was buzzing. I never got to sleep. Eventually, around about 1:30 in the morning, I was buzzing. Oh my God, the energies. It's like what do you call it? A review, feedback, whatever, Trevor. And then I was up again about 5:30, 6. I thought, fuck, I only had a few hours again. And then it comes in. That's a belief system. Okay. So you just, but thank you for inviting me on your show.
Yes. I want to give you an opportunity. Can share with people, and I'm going to put all the links in the description box below, but share with people how they can work with you, specifically what you do, what you offer services wise, and what people can, if they want to learn more or get involved with you, how can they do that?
Contact me via Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Joey's my friend. And just send a message. And if I have no advice for you, I'll try and send you in a direction for someone that could help you. There's a saying, when the time's ready for each one of us, the teacher will appear. And I tend to do that. I don't advertise anything anywhere. But just odd questions. If I don't know, I'll say I don't know. I never say what I don't know. I have the 2 shows. I have Inception podcast, and I have Open Minds live chat show. Like and subscribe to them. I have some amazing guests, and Joey was one of them yesterday. You never know. You might find another perception resonates with you better than mine. Please take from me whatever you can if it resonates. If it doesn't resonate, put it to one side. If you're not sure, ask yourself. Don't ask anyone else. Say, well, what do I think about that? Go within. If not, have a chat with somebody, or go and watch podcasts. These type of podcasts, or Joey's show, or my show, or other shows similar, and listen to different people talk about the same thing, and it may resonate. Follow your excitement, follow your joy. Do not take life seriously. In a blink of an eye, it will be gone. So while you're here, pay attention, be the observer, and have fun. You can have fun.
I love that. Well, as we get to the end of the show, I always ask one question of every guest at the very end of the show. And since this show's devoted to learning how we create our own reality, I want to ask you, which I'm going to do in just a second, when I snap my fingers, if you could be transported to your ideal reality, what would that be? What would that look like, feel like for you? So ready, go.
Home.
Would you say home?
Home.
I haven't had that one answered. Haven't had that answer yet. Home. So that's where you would go, huh? Home. I like that. That's beautiful. Gloria, this has been one of, if not the most fascinating and entertaining shows I've done. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your story, sharing your knowledge, your wisdom. You know, we each have this. We just have to learn to go within. I know it's cliched saying, but it's true. I mean, it's all there for us to discover. And that's part of the process. Like you said, we're all trying to just go through this process of remembering, of self-realizing who and what we truly are as gods playing amongst each other.
And now we're co-creating. Me and you are co-creating together. We are manifesting this reality now, this timeline between us. I've got my timeline, you've got yours. We're now manifesting this. So anyone watching, coming in on the shows, we're all, now the gods are playing. The gods are performing. We're co-creating with each other and manifesting new experiences, new timelines. It's fun.
You literally, my entire body was just tingling, hair sticking up as you just said that. It was like, yes, I'm resonating completely in your frequency, both of us. So thank you so much, love.
You're welcome. Thank you.
You got it. Thank you. And thank you to everybody watching today. I hope you enjoyed the show as much as I did. Be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, hit subscribe and make sure you hit that little bell so that you get notified of every new episode from the Reality Practice Network. And until next time, my friends, stay blessed and remember to always ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today? Bye now. Hey everyone, it's Joey again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked the show. Please make sure to give it a thumbs up if you did. We'd love to hear your comments too. And if you haven't already, please make sure to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell to never miss an episode from the Reality Practice Network. As I mentioned before the show, I wanted to extend an exclusive offer to you, the viewers of the Reality Practice Network. For all of you watching this video, you're undoubtedly experiencing an awakening and are searching for more explanation into the experiences you're having. Now is the time to explore who and what you truly are. For a limited time, you can now work one-on-one with your show host. Click the link in the description box below to start your journey, or learn more by going to myrealitypractice.com/ascension and let your ascension begin. And remember to ask yourself, what reality are you choosing to create today?